Greetings, Jelly Spoons, and welcome back to another episode of Monday Madness, the Monday show where I talk about anything and everything. Today, I am going to bring you a short one because I am a little busy doing many other things. However, I was in the shooting mood, I guess, so I have done some photo shoots today. And I'm gonna make you a story based on what they are. To decide what I was going to do for my sheets today, I was looking through a deck of tarot cards, and some of the imagery just really called out and spoke to me. So I used some of that and a few of my own ideas, a couple of bits off my Pinterest board, and I have done 3 photo shoots today. I have done 3 tarot card inspired images, and I'm gonna put those on the screen for you in a little while. The story I want to tell you is an improvised tale of 3 short stories of, well, unhappy endings. The first story is about the Ten of Swords, one of my favourite cards, purely because of the artwork I've seen on so many of them. The first story is about a man who tried. He tried really hard and got nowhere. This man was a fighter, a warrior, born and sworn to defend those he loved, and he went out and he did it. He wasn't just some bloodthirsty ruffian. He fought for what he believed in, only killing when necessary. He did everything that he could to protect his land, his home, his family, his friends, everything that he loved and held dear to him. And one day, while he was out fighting, he saw someone else doing the same. And the thought crossed his mind that everyone he had ever fought, every life he had ever taken, every war he'd ever been sent to, was to fight someone who felt exactly the same way that he did. Someone defending their family, their life, their home, their customs, their ways, their everything. And he couldn't do it anymore. But he'd sworn to do it. He'd sworn that this was the thing he would set his life to. It was the thing he was good at. He was good at killing. He didn't want to admit it. He was loath to admit it. But in the dark of the night, if questioned, if prodded, if probed, when all around was very quiet and no one else could hear, he would have admitted it very softly, that killing was something he was very good at. And so, in retribution for refusing to kill any more, for smiting this gift that he had been given, the beautiful executioner that he was, swift and painless deaths that he could deal out, he was dealt one himself. And so, every time he refused to act, every day that he laid his sword down and refused to do anything, was another day closer to his own demise. And the day came, and it was rainy and dark, a cold blue day with nothing in the sky but rain and clouds. There was no bird song, there was just mud underfoot and decay in his heart. And as the first blade came down upon him, he realized that the beautiful executioner had been passed to another. It was no longer him. Someone had to do it. There always had to be a beautiful executioner, and because it was no longer him and he was no longer willing, it was going to be taken from him. 10 blades were stabbed into his chest, and as the dark blood was washed away into the dirt and the ground, and so the beautiful executioner found his rest, drawing his last breath, but with it his talent escaped him, fluttering over to another. And as he drew his last breath, the last conscious thought he had before he slipped away into eternity was knowing that someone else had taken up his mantle, and so the beautiful killing would begin again. The second story is about the hanged man, the man who knew no consequence until he finally did. There once was a man who tried to do everything right, everything good, everything sensible, but beyond that, he tried to do everything in a way that would benefit everybody. Not just himself, but everyone. Those he knew, those he didn't. Friend or foe, he would help, and he would love them all equally. And so the man travelled the world, meeting anyone and everyone, always showing some goodness, believing that even if he was the only one, there would still be some good in the world. As long as he drew breath, there was good. And he believed it of others. He believed it until his very last moments, even though everything about his last moments proved that perhaps the goodness in the world was being snuffed out more than he had realized. They gave him a name, those who met him. They called him Hope. And as he flitted on the wind from place to place, those who had seen and heard of and known him whispered his name. The stories began to grow, and hope began to spread, even those who had never laid eyes upon the man. Just knowing there was something out there in the world was inspiring. But those who didn't want hope to prevail also heard these stories, and they started concocting their plans. And while hope was travelling, trying to spread some good and some joy and just some semblance of happy thought to the world, those who did not want hope to prevail persisted. They followed the trail of happy souls, and eventually they caught up to him in a little bar in a little town somewhere far, far away. The tavern was happy and joyous. Music was played, the bar was full, the fire was lit, warmth dancing from the grate, a smile on every face, a drink in every hand, and everyone was merry and glad. Stories were shared and hearts were full. But then the door was kicked in, and a group of hooded figures with long blades marched their way in. And they brought with them the bitter winds of the cold, cold outside, and they brought with them long blades. They pointed their blades at Hope. Everyone turned. They tried to assist, but none could do a thing, and Hope insisted on them not trying. They tightened a blindfold round Hope's eyes and dragged him out into the snow. They say Hope's last, long, drawn-out, bitter screams can still be heard on the wind some bitter nights. And after the hooded figures had gone, departed the scene, sure that hope would not prevail, the villagers gathered, and word spread of what had happened, and floods of people came, and they held a memorial. And as they lay Hope down in the dirt of the ground and covered him in flowers, they all promised something silently together, that they would never ever let the memory of hope die. And then we have the final story for today, the devil. Some men see beauty in a sunrise. Some men see beauty in a bird song. Some men hear beauty in a soft tune played delicately on the harpsichord. And some men see beauty in the faces of the beautiful. One man who believed himself holy was enraptured, taken by a beautiful face he saw only in his dreams. And one day, the face appeared in the confessional, and though he knew he should not look, must not look, something inside him spurred him on. He could not look. And so the holy man sat beside the beautiful creature and listened to every confession it had to make. And though the man was horrified, he could not stop listening. And when the creature asked if it could repent, the holy man said it could. And when the creature turned to face the man through the slats and asked the holy man if it was forgiven, the holy man turned to the creature and said yes. The next day, the holy man was nowhere to be found. The church was empty. His usual congregation filed in, but there was no sign of him. The candles had burnt out overnight. The broomstick that he swept up with was lying by the altar. There was nothing. No note, no word. Nothing from his family, nothing from his friends. Just gone. Gone in the night. They knew not what to do, nor what had happened. So they picked up and carried on. Another holy man came and took his place and stayed for 65 years. And no one ever knew what happened to the holy man who used to teach them. But sometimes, when it is quiet, if you take a seat in the confessional booth and listen, you can hear the holy man confessing what he has done with the beautiful creature ever since he vanished. All right, my wonderful jealous beans, I hope you enjoyed those short stories. I have got many, many things to do, but enjoy this chaos. I love you all.